Hi and welcome to this video lesson on how to use a servo in Arduino. So in Arduino we have the ability, as we've looked before, to add libraries and how to call up those libraries. We need to do the exact same thing to utilize the servo. Now a servo is a small motor that can only move between 0 and 180 degrees. It's used more for things like pulling or pushing or animatronics or small steering movements, things like that. So what we need to do is open up our Arduino editor. Let's just go ahead and delete everything in there. I think this is going to be a good way to kind of start getting used to being able to type out everything instead of relying on the pre-created template that Arduino does give you. Although you can keep it, up to you. Just know where you need to place everything. Alright, so to get started, we need to include the library called Servo. So we type in include. We do our start caret and we do servo with a capital S .h n caret and enter. Next we need to call up the servo library by going servo and then my servo. What this is doing is it's creating the servo object to control utilizing the library that we're importing with it. Next we need to create the integer position and basically we're just creating a start position for our program, so we know where we're starting at with the servo. So integer position is 0. Now that we have that, and you can see I made a mistake up here. Go ahead and make sure you are adding those semicolons, otherwise you're going to have a heck of a time trying to get this working, that's for sure. Alright, let's type in our void setup. And in our void setup we need to enable the servo or attach it to the pin. Think of this like how we would call pin mode up. So we'd say like pin mode LED on, right? Or as an output. So pin mode LED output. In this case, we're using what's built into the servo library, and that is the attach command. So we'll go my servo.attach, and in your parentheses add 9. Make sure you add that semicolon in there, and then we're done. We can exit out of the void setup, and we'll now go directly into the void loop. In our void loop, what we need to do is essentially create an equation or a then statement, we can say. Or in this case, it's going to be a for statement. And that is, we need to set it that we're creating a certain action to occur when our servo position, excuse me, when our servo position is either at 0 or 180, and what happens in between there. So to do that, let's type in the for, start parentheses, and we'll type in our integer of position is 0, semicolon, if position, that was a mistype there, so if position is less than 180, and your semicolon there, we need to set a position to +1. So we do plus equal sign 1. Then we exit out of the parentheses there, and let's create another curly bracket. So we'll hit enter, and then we're going to write what's going to happen, which is my servo dot write, essentially like the digital write, but we're using the servo library for it. So my survey dot write, and we're going to write onto the servo the integer of position, right? So if it's at 0, if it's at 190, if it's at 90, if it's at 45, that's just what we're telling it to write on there. Then we add our semicolon, and then we're going to add a delay of 15 milliseconds. Once you have that done, we can verify it. Make sure you do have a board selected. Let's verify it just to make sure everything's correct. We're good to go. And then we could upload this to our Arduino once we have the servo connected. And to do that, you would want to connect your power to 5 volt, your ground to ground, and your signal pin to pin 9, because that's what we set here. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave those if you're watching them in terms of on Google Classroom, leave those in Classroom, or you can always leave your questions or comments at the end of this video in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching.